Dunks podcast on the Athletic Network. It's Thursday, February 9th, 2023. I'm J.E. Skeets here in the Classic Factory, and alongside me, as always, Tass Mellis. Next to Tassie, it's the bearded one, my top shot hot boy, Trey Kirby.
Hey-o!
Hey-o! Over yonder, our super producer, JD.
Hello.
There he is. And last but not least, our social media superstar. He's got a sexy new setup here in the Classic Factory. It's Jerome Chang.
We gotta meet under less chaotic circumstances.
Oh my God. No, I love it. We live for this, Jerome. Shout out to the stream team joining us live right now on YouTube. If you're new here, thanks for joining us. Take a second, hit that little like button to help us out, and make sure you subscribe to No Dunks, especially today on NBA Trade Deadline Day, where we might be going live 100 times for all we know. But let's jump into the big deal from last night. A few days after Kyrie was traded to the Mavericks, his superstar teammate in Brooklyn is headed to the Western Conference too. Everybody wants to head west. Late last night, while all the no-dunkies were snuggled up in their beds.
Yeah, I've never wanted to live on the West Coast more than last night.
Yeah.
Be awake for this thing.
Yeah, the Phoenix Suns acquired Kevin Durant in a blockbuster deal.
This is a blockbuster.
Thank you. I just wanted to confirm with you.
This is Ant-Man and Wasp Quantumania.
Yes, the three-teamer earlier last night, that was Black Adam. This one is Ant-Man. So KD and TJ Warren head to the desert in exchange for Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, Jae Crowder, 4 first-round picks. We're talking 23, 25, 27, 29, and a 2028 pick swap. Hello. Let's break it down. Well, first off, tell me how you found out this morning. Was it just as simple as rolling over? Do you check your phone right away in bed? I know it's not healthy, but do you do it?
Depends on the day.
Okay.
Usually I do, and surprisingly today I didn't.
Oh.
Surprisingly, it took me until after a pee to actually check my phone, which is surprising for me. But luckily it was after the pee, so it didn't go everywhere. I was startled to see Kevin Durant.
Wow.
I guess you can actually buy into a guy leaving the bench Monday night and then not being there on Tuesday. Wow. He wanted to go.
You kept saying it, Tess.
Yeah, but James Jones seemingly reading all the reporting, and Adrian Wojnarowski's reporting on ESPN, didn't want to do it, didn't want to include Mikal Bridges, but Matt Ishbia, the new owner of the Phoenix Suns, who just had his introductory press conference yesterday, Wednesday. He walked in.
That's true. That was yesterday.
Yesterday. He walked in and said, just keep calling last night. Give Sean Marks one more call, and he was very comfortable including Mikal Bridges, which was the sticking point. James Jones didn't want to move him. Mm-hmm. This is the best trade we possibly could have gotten from here, because from this perspective, because we've got the Phoenix Suns obviously going for it, and the Brooklyn Nets getting as much as they possibly could in terms of draft capital, and I think the level of player with Mikal Bridges.
Yeah.
Going back to the preseason, it was Jaylen Brown, sort of the top echelon type player that they get back, or Mikal Bridges, or the OG Anunoby type chatter. So this is peak stuff right here, and I think the Phoenix Suns, I think it's easy to forget that Devin Booker just came back. They have got to feel very, very good about their chances this year, and they've got a Durant and a Booker for 4 playoff runs. I think you could pencil them in for the favorite in the Western Conference next year, I'd say, but you could even say it this year. If you say it this year, I wouldn't think you're crazy. At all.
Good team. They have a good 5. I mean, they're a little thin, obviously, after trading some guys. But is this just the classic case here, TK, of new owner, have itch, let's do it? Like, this is wild, the timing of Ishbia coming in here and saying, get me Kevin Durant. I said, get me Kevin Durant. Go get Kevin Durant. Now, there's been rumors, obviously, these teams linked for a while. But I guess it was that the Bridges hold up, and they crossed it.
Matt said not a Bridges too far for me. It is a little bit of new owner syndrome, but it's also a huge part of smart owner syndrome. He traded for Kevin Durant. It's not like he's making a big splashy deal for Kyrie Irving, which would be a huge risk. This is a new championship contender. I think the Suns were done this season prior to this trade. I didn't think they had the championship team in them, with Chris Paul taking another little half step back, a little bit of drama with DeAndre Ayton. Booker was out of the lineup. The team fell apart, and they were still pretty shallow before this trade. They're going to be shallow right now until they pick up random buyout guys.
Mello.
Sure, yeah, why not? Mello. Any old guy you can think of. Hassan Whiteside. Maybe John Wall somehow ends up there.
Cousins, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
If you made an all-star team 5 seasons ago, you could probably find your way to the Phoenix Suns if you really want to. But trading for Kevin Durant, huge move, smart move. He's under contract. He's great. The only concern really is injuries because he's missed a chunk of time this season, last season, and going back to his first season with the Nets and with the Warriors. Obviously, you're counting on 60 games and for him to hopefully be healthy come playoff time. But I'm with Tass. I think this at least puts him in the upper echelon of the Western Conference, and maybe I'm going to hold out just a little bit to actually see them on the court together, but I think that they could easily be the championship favorite coming out of the West.
Yeah, I guess why I'm slightly in hold mode is because of what happened with the Brooklyn Nets last year. I was comfortable saying those dudes are the favorites, but I think this is an entirely different locker room. Kevin Durant has got that relationship with Monty Williams. Devin Booker is healthy, and I know, basically your one question with Phoenix Suns is Kevin Durant too old or is he injured? And he's had 2 guys fall into his legs the last 2 seasons. That's what's happened. He's 34, I get it, but really, I'm comfortable with this the injury history. Again, 4 playoffs under contract, 23, 24, 25, 26. With him and Devin Booker, I think he's healthy. and obviously I'm not.
And DeAndre Ayton is under a long-term contract as well.
Exactly. I mean, so yeah, you say
them.
they have a big 4 and they're a little thin. They're thin at the small forward position. There's no doubt. Those 4 guys are starting. You're starting with Paul and Booker and Durant and Ayton, Torrey Craig, Josh Okogie, or your starting small forwards. I think we kind of undervalue Kevin Durant's defense. I mean, he is an MVP candidate this season. If the Nets, played a little bit better to start, he is one of the best players in the game. Devin Booker is an all-NBA player. If they're all healthy, them and the Nuggets are the 2 best teams in the Western Conference. And if they're all healthy and they're in a series, who are you taking? I'm probably taking the Suns. If they're again all healthy, and they still probably can make a move. They got Dario Saric is expiring, and some other little moves there. But they got to keep Jock Landale. That's pretty cool. I
didn't even assume he was going to get mentioned, but that's exciting.
It is exciting. They are a little thin for sure, but not that thin.
It's a ballsy move. It is Kevin Durant, but I just love that they're going for it. Obviously, they're looking at the Western Conference, standings, layout, where they are even. We're talking the Suns have had, the worst season of all time.
No way.
And they have. It's been bad by their standards from the last 2 years, obviously going to the finals 2 years ago, 64 wins last year before that Game 7 flameout against the Mavs. And then this year, struggling to find their way. The Booker injury was out for a good chunk of time, but they're right there. In the Western Conference standing. What are they, 5th right now? Basically tied for 4th, I think, with your Dallas Mavericks, who got Kyrie, and he played last night. Man, what a night. You could have scored 80 points last night. No one would have cared. Sorry. That'll be the 10th thing we talk about here today.
Yeah, I think they have a decent enough locker room. They were first in the West in early December, and then Devin Booker got hurt. Their best player got hurt.
Yeah.
And so Chris Paul's, age and breaking down is definitely a worry to some degree, but now him as the 3rd, 4th guy, you're fine with it for this year, and the worries are going forward after that with Chris Paul, but you got to feel damn good. I know they're going to miss Mikal Bridges. He's kind of their heart of their team, and Cam Johnson as well, so Suns fans got to be hurt just because their boys are gone, but I think they'll get over it.
As soon as Kevin Durant puts on a jersey. It's the best player they've ever had.
I can't believe just the Nets timeline of what's happened over the last 3.5 years. It'll do your head in when you think about what's gone on. July 2019, they signed Kyrie Irving. Soon after that, Kevin Durant is acquired from the Warriors in a sign and trade.
Injured.
A couple years after that, they acquired James Harden from the Rockets. February 2022, he's traded to the 76ers. This is when they start to build it down. 3 years sort of to build it up. 2 years, really. And then it just starts ripping down here in 2 years. Harden traded to the 76ers. February 6th, obviously, of 23. Kyrie traded to the Mavs. And then last night, call it today, Kevin Durant traded to the Suns. Holy moly. To acquire 3 MVP-like guys 3 Hall of Famers, put them all together in the span of, again, like a 3-year window, 2-year window, and then to blow it up in a year. And man, I felt bad for my godson. He turned into a Nets fan. His father, my buddy Grish, your buddy Grish, our buddy Grish, he bought him 3 jerseys. Bought him a Harden Nets jersey. Bought him a Kyrie Nets jersey. Bought him a Durant Nets jersey. God, I hope you did that with the Amex.
No, it's too late.
I
was just reporting that news here to the studio before you got here. It's outside the Amex window.
Oh, jeez.
14 months ago.
Oof.
It's got to be 12 months to get the insurance.
Oh boy.
So I don't know if he bought the extended insurance. That doesn't exist.
3 jerseys you could throw out, or at least give Goodwill or something.
Yeah,
Wow.
we're talking about
that's
American
nuts.
Express
That is nuts.
Insurance. We're talking about Matt Ishbia giving out a mortgage rate to the Nets. It's a pretty good mortgage rate.
So do you think then what you were saying, Durant leaving the bench after the Kyrie thing, like, so Durant went to them? Went to Josiah and said, okay, get me out of here too. Like, right? Otherwise, we were like sitting here going, okay, they traded Kyrie, all right, you get off that headache, get some nice pieces back, it's fine, it's not crazy, but like there's something there to pack, put around Kevin Durant. There's some defensive-minded guys there, and instead, 2 days later, he's gone.
Well, I mean, obviously they must have had some sort of a chat about it, but I also think it's probably, the Nets get the offer from the Suns and they're like 4 first-round picks and a swap. We're trading a 34-year-old guy who has injury problems to a team that has had injury problems the entire season.
And the Bridges part of it, who, could be, you don't think Bridges could be an all-star in this league?
Maybe if his team has 60 wins and he's the 3rd guy.
Okay.
I mean, he's fine. He's fine to me, but I would trade Mikal Bridges for Kevin Durant 100 times out of 100, even if Bridges ends up being a 3-time all-star.
Okay, yeah.
I actually don't know that he'll hang around on the Nets either, because why? Why at this point? All they have is 3-and-D wings.
They got a lot of them.
Yeah. It's basically all they got is wings who play 3-and-D. But I kind of think it's like, I don't know. I didn't think that Kevin Durant would get traded this year. I thought it would take too much negotiation and just it'd be a lot easier to do. But the Suns had a ton of picks. They had youngish players, and that's exactly what you're looking for in a deal for somebody who may, at the very least, be unhappy in the future. We know he was unhappy in the past. In the interim, who knows? So a good job by the Nets, I think, to be able to get back players and to be able to get back these picks and maybe still make moves going forward. I just don't think that they are a team to worry about going forward this season. I mean, maybe they'll hang out in the play-in tournament, but I think they'll drop pretty far down the standings.
It sounds like they're going to try and move Crowder here too to a possible contender before the deadline ends at 3 p.m. today. Keep forgetting that. It's today.
They did as best as they could. And I think the Nets front office, even going back to the summer, was thinking about, let's just blow this thing up to some degree with Kevin Durant. And so I don't even know if they talked in the last 48 hours. They've been thinking about it. They were kind of in this mindset before the season with Josiah and Sean Marks, where they were just upset with the direction of the team, with the attitude of the team. And so I think that's carried over. And basically that's as good as you can get. Essentially, Mikal Bridges is not a number one. I agree with Trey to some degree here. He is an OG and an OB type.
Yeah.
If the best ability is availability, then he's the best player in the league. The guy doesn't miss a game.
There you go.
But guess what? The best ability is not availability. He's a very good player. He's not a number one. Him and the two Cams. 2 Cams is exciting. Cam Johnson and now Cam Thomas.
Yeah.
The future is here. The Cams have
Too bad they didn't throw in campaign for the trade.
Wow.
That's a good call. Triple Cams. Not quite the studio here. How many Cams we got? Colin? We got
a lot
Cam
today. Yeah.
New Cam on Jerome.
I see 5 at least.
Man, we blew the budget.
Yeah.
But I think that is the best they could do. They got a 23, a 25, a 27, and a 29 from the Suns. They don't have their own picks. So, yeah, they don't have their own future to bank on, but now they have the Suns' future to bank on. I do think the 23 and 25 pick aren't going to be all that great. They do get the swap, as you said there, in 28. So they're banking on the second half of this decade, Chris Paul being gone. Who knows what happens with Kevin Durant's age. But the Suns have their team. I don't think they're moving off this until Kevin Durant becomes, a shell of himself late in his 30s, or I'm just comfortable saying that Kevin Durant is healthy enough. He's bounced back. We thought he was done, and when he had that foot injury in 2016, I mean, people were questioning before he went to the Warriors. I guess it was 2014. I'm getting my years mixed up. But before he went to the Warriors. And so he's bounced back, and he's bounced back after the Warriors injury. I don't think I'm being crazy. It's a different era. Players are playing later into their 30s. So I'm comfortable with the Nets taking this chance. And at the same time, as I said off the top, the Nets taking a chance here too to really tear it up. That's why it feels so good. It feels like both teams swinging. And
I'm not sitting here and applauding the Brooklyn Nets.
This is you mean for the last
pathetic.
few years?
I mean, you can put a lot of the blame on the players, but also put some on the front office. They brought in 3, again, Hall of Famers and won 1 playoff series. It's like,
don't let players run your team.
Yeah, right. Exactly. And Brooklyn still owes Houston their first round picks in 24, 26. Rockets have the right to swap in 25, 27. Yeah, they got some back here. They got, I guess, 7 tradable first rounders over the next 7 years here in these moves they've made, sending out Kyrie and KD. But this is pretty sad. I mean, look, the Rockets are probably happy with this deal, right? Because of those picks I just said. Like, they want the Nets to be as bad as possible moving forward here. And you're going to probably be worse getting rid of Kyrie and KD. But maybe they won't. I mean, because they were running the front office, whatever. And all of the negativity and the bad headlines hanging over them. Maybe they'll just feel a little looser. They basically just went back to the old Nets before they ended up trying to build the superstar team. Crazy
the
stuff.
Kenny Atkinson Nets.
Yeah.
The Spencer Dinwiddie and Nick Claxton and the Cams now. Injuries played a factor in that super team that didn't work out.
Yeah.
It's a factor. You got to mention it. But, yeah, the headache is gone. And I think that was part of the move here, the Sean Marks. Let's move on. Let's get back to the Kenny days.
It's a lot easier when you don't have to try and win,
Yeah.
As Yuta Watanabe tweeted this morning at 8:36 a.m. Once again, the wonderful world. It's translated from Google, but this is where we are right now.
You drop it in the
Positivity.
Utah in Japanese tweeted once again the wonderful world. You think Utah's just happy? He's just out there now playing ball. Things are feeling good. You got to assume.
You know what? It's the positivity you need when you're the Nets after the last couple of days.
Yeah. Any other thoughts here on the Suns Nets blockbuster deal? What else you got?
Yes. I do have some thoughts. Kevin Durant, he's switching conferences. Did you hear? Eastern Conference to Western Conference. You think that makes people want to pay more for an OG Anunoby? If you're the Denver Nuggets, aren't you a little bit more like,
whoa,
probably can't guard Kevin Durant with KCP and MPJ? I think that there should be teams that are calling now saying, we absolutely need a big-time wing defender if we're going to be making a run here, because the Nuggets have been in the lead in the Western Conference for quite some time. They've been a team we've been talking about probably still needs to make a move because they're a little shallow after their solid starting 5. They definitely need a defender and a big wing. They've been an OG team for sure, as has Memphis, as has the Pelicans, though they've fallen off as a team and kind of it feels like a little bit in the sweepstakes. But I do think this makes OG even more desirable to a team like Denver or Memphis, who now needs to figure out, how do we deal with a new MVP candidate coming to the town?
Yeah.
How do you stop that team? Period. Booker is obviously a huge problem. So those two guys, and I know everybody just wants to say that Chris Paul is washed. I mean, the guy is shooting 39% from 3 this season. If he's your third best offensive player, called DeAndre Ayton, whatever, you just can't stop this team. I mean, regardless of who you get. That's why they're going to be the best offense.
So do you agree with what Trey's saying here? That the Nuggets and Grizzlies should be, increasing their potential deal for an OG and really trying to go for him here with this being so open.
Totally. When you're starting Michael Porter Jr., Jamal Murray, you got to worry about your defense, period. And so, yeah, sure. Why the heck not? To me, the West was open at the top, and Denver should be trying for whatever they can get to try and make it happen. And now the Suns are pushing them. Yeah, what would the offer for OG be? I don't know. I don't know do they have the pieces? Just a lot of picks, I suppose.
We were talking about Bones, Michael Porter Jr., picks. Yeah. And the Grizzlies side of things, that was a long time ago now when we did that OG trade. We had some in there. There was like pieces of Zaire Williams. There was one with Dylan Brooks. There was one without. I was trying very hard to get Desmond Bane to the Raptors. That's not happening. But yeah, there are packages that I think both teams could make. Though I also don't know what the Raptors are doing now, and we'll get to them bringing back
Pearl
Poeltl.
Power.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I do think that the Nuggets and Grizzlies, definitely the Nuggets here with an MVP guy in Jokic, like with what now the Suns have done, with what the Mavs have done, do it for him as well. Do it for your franchise. Do it for your fan base. Like, no, we're not talking going overboard here, but like, get some help. Get some defensive-minded guys that you can at least slow some of these perimeter guys down, or at least try to. And we'll see if they're aggressive here. It feels like Bones Highland couldn't be traded today. Guy doesn't play anymore. So he's an enticing young player to start a deal with, to try and get like an OG or someone else. So yeah, we'll see.
I guess the price has gone down for everybody. All that stuff that we were talking about. The 2 first-round picks for Jakob Poeltl. All a pile of hooey. Mm-hmm. Every single player, even OG Anunoby's price, coming down.
They wanted 4 at first, the Mitchell package. Then it turned to 3.
Yeah, and it would definitely not be 3. It would definitely not be 3.
It'll be 2 in a young player.
I don't think Bones and Michael Porter Jr. does it for Masai Ujiri.
No, probably not.
That's too risky. But it's going to be hard to compete with the Suns. Maybe you just wait it out and hope they get old. But yeah, it makes sense to go for it at some point. I think the thinness of the Suns' rotation is a bit overblown already. 8 hours into this thing, because they still do have a couple of their own draft picks here, even though they've traded a bunch, and they still could trade Sarge. As I said, they could make another pick swap. Like, when you've got those 4 guys that we've mentioned, you gotta feel good no matter what.
Yeah, of course.
I think it's being
that's what they're doing here.
I think it's a bit overblown, just that they don't have anybody to defend. Kevin Durant's a pretty good defender. I mean, they've got a very good, very, 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 very good team.
They are banking 100% on the health of these guys. Chris Paul and his age, holding up in a playoff run. Obviously, Booker, just hoping he's fine after his injury. And then Kevin Durant's the huge one. The guy's missed like 150 games over the last 3 seasons or something like that. Some of it just unfortunate guys falling into him. But yeah, those 3 guys out there, DeAndre Ayton is playing well. If that's your 3rd or 4th guy, you're good. And this is a team that's gone far already. Again, disappointing last year, and everybody just laughs at them. Oh, what a joke! But holy crap, adding Kevin Durant to
finally got a clutch guy. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's wild. Seth Partnow had a fun tweet about this morning. I thought just made me think. KD, is he the best player at the time of the trade to get traded in season, or who was the last one? Even is a good way to look at it. In season, best player at the time of the trade.
Harden's in the mix.
Exactly. Harden to the Nets, yeah.
Yeah, Harden to the Nets. Yep. I would say
Jimmy Butler to the Sixers.
Jimmy Butler to the Sixers, yeah, that's a pretty good one.
Yep.
Trying to think who else. I mean, Rasheed Wallace, obviously many years back, nearly 20 years back.
Pau Gasol. Pau Gasol to the Lakers.
Pau Gasol to the Lakers. That was a swinger.
Yep. Robbery.
Yeah. And then you're not gonna like this one. Maybe earmuffs on this one. Vince Carter to the Nets. He's a damn good player.
He was a damn good player.
Yeah.
He was sandbagging it in Toronto, but he was a damn good player as soon as he put on the Nets jersey.
That was an early in-season trade. Wasn't that a December trade? You don't see that too often in the NBA. Yeah, December 17th, 2004, also nearly 20 years ago.
Oh, jeez.
But like your godson, apparently.
Shout out to Andreas.
I talked myself into Vince Carter being traded for Eric Williams, Aaron Williams, and the ghost of Alonzo Mourning, who said, "No way, I'm going there. It's cold there." We'll get to the Toronto forecast a little bit later in the show. Did you guys tune in for the forecast, the Toronto forecast? Because we'll get to that later on in the show. It's coming. But I talked myself into that. Your godson apparently talking himself into the 2 Cam and Spencer Dinwiddie. And
he got no choice. I mean,
he could change teams.
He doesn't need to be a Nets fan anymore.
No, he doesn't need to be. Yeah, that's right. He was obviously living in New York for a little bit. Decided not to be a Knicks fan.
Jump
that was
over.
Smart. Was a Nets fan.
Yeah, that's smart. Why not jump over?
Jump over? don't even just leave the Knicks. Don't be a Knicks fan. I mean, you live in Atlanta now, kid. I mean, hell, be a Hawks fan. You should have been a Raptors fan. It's on his father. His father's a fan of all 30.
Yeah,
teams.
exactly.
So he's a screwed up kid as it is. I mean,
He's got 30 logos on his jacket.
yeah,
man.
exactly.
But no, I would say jump over the Mikal Bridges and go over to Manhattan.
No, I respect it. I mean, I want him to like talk yourself into a Cam Thomas. Guy's on fire. Talk yourself into a Claxton.
Oh, it's coming from a
It'll
Raptors
be a
fan.
more fun team to watch, or at least cheer for, I should say.
Yeah.
To cheer for.
Pain.
All the underdogs.
So you're saying, like, as a sports fan of a team that had some tough times. Like,
Yeah.
pain
Yeah,
is
20 years.
sports fandom. Misery is sports fandom. Of
course.
I get it. Yeah, been
Of course. All right, let's take a break. We do have some more trades to dissect, so don't go anywhere. We're back in like 60 seconds.
Last week, I saw date night show up on my family calendar.
Okay.
Intriguing. What's going on with this date night, I asked. My wife replied, "Ooh, you like that, boy? You're gonna need to get fancy." Turns out we got tickets for jazz night at the High Museum. So yeah, I need to get
Nice.
fancy. Indochino fancy. With their huge variety of customizable details and fabrics, Indochino can help you create anything from made-to-measure blazers and suits to a custom portrait-worthy tuxedo, all with no tailor necessary. Should I show up in a tuxedo?
Yeah.
Jazz night?
Yeah, you fancy
Show up
boy.
to our live show in a tuxedo.
It's actually pretty cool. Pretty cool look. Indochino, they give you everything you need to create a custom suit that's right for you. Shop online by setting up your measurement profile and choosing the fabric and customizations you want. If you prefer an in-person experience, you can book an appointment at an Indochino showroom and work with an expert style guide to take your measurements and walk you through your customization options. Then just sit back while your suit is made for you and delivered straight to your door. Suits start at just $499 and premium fitted shirts start at $89. You can fine-tune every detail. Lapels, linings, monograms, and more. If you've got your own jazz night, you can start planning your custom look with Indochino. Go to Indochino.com and use code NODUNKS to get 10% off any purchase of $399 or more. That's INDOCHINO.com, promo code NODUNKS.
All right, here in the Classic Factory, Thursday, trade deadline day. If you're just joining us, here's the big blockbuster that happened, like 1 o'clock last night? 1 a.m. Eastern? Something like that. Again, we were sleeping. I was cuddling my pillow. Suns received Kevin Durant, TJ Warren, Nets getting back, Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, Jae Crowder, who might be rerouted today to another team. We'll wait to find out. 4 first-round picks, 23, 25, 27, 29. And a 28 pick swap. We just did a good 20 minutes weighing in on it. People are pumped about the Suns going for a championship. Nets getting back a decent return there in two really good young players in Bridges and Cam, and then all that draft capital to try and put a little bit more in the cupboard after that Harden trade. But let's hear your thoughts.
Yeah, and here's a tie-in as well. Our man Esh chiming in with another big name that was traded in season, Carmelo Anthony. We forgot about him. 2011 was traded from the Nuggets
Good
to
point.
the Knicks. Tie-in. Suns could use a guy who wants a ring. He can hit some shots. He's not retired. He's available. Just a depth guy. More just, hey, come on over. Just be a part of a championship team.
Carmelo Anthony.
Why
all right.
not? Why not?
If you are joining us live on YouTube and you're new here, hit the like button. We got a lot of people live right now and not enough likes, so take a second, do that. Make sure you subscribe to No Dunks here on YouTube, and hopefully we'll be going live all throughout the day with some fun stuff. Let's put aside the Blockbuster for a second, and let's talk about some of the other deals that went down last night, and we will begin with the Portland Trailblazers trading Josh Hart to the Knicks in exchange for Cam Reddish, Svi, and Ryan. I'm on a first-name basis with those guys.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
No reason why. We're just
Good
real
buddy,
tight.
Svi.
Mikhailuk and Archie Diacono?
Oh, yeah.
Sure, I took a chance at it. And a 23 first-round pick, that's protected. So again, Hart to the Knicks. Blazers going to be the next team to maybe take a flyer on Cam Reddish. Svi, Ryan to make the money work. And a 23 first-round pick, which is protected, and I believe it's lottery protected. It turns into 4 second-rounders if it doesn't convey this year, which is a little rare for that type of thing to happen. But anyway, thoughts on the Knicks side of things. Getting Hart, he's the real player in this trade.
He's a Tibbs type of player.
Yeah, he is.
He's going to get out there. I don't think he starts on this team because I think Quentin Grimes has been griming it pretty well for the New York Knicks. I mean, he is their three-point shooter, just to provide space for Julius Randle out there. Josh Hart has not been shooting it as much. He fits coming off the bench, though. And it's really interesting from the Blazers side of things. We were thinking, oh, they're buyers coming to the trade deadline, but this is probably a smarter move to trade something for a first-round pick, which is probably going to convey this year. They're probably going to get it high teens.
Yeah.
And a flyer on Cam Reddish. So I don't hate it from either side. I think the Blazers shouldn't be trying to go for it. There's a fly right there.
Taking a flyer.
I was eating a banana in here earlier. May have brought the fruit flies. Didn't have time for breakfast this morning.
I like it for both sides, but yeah, Tibbs and Josh Hart.
Tibbs and Josh.
Oh, what a perfect matchup.
And you say that, just a hard-nosed guard, rebounds, Tibbs-like guy, despite undersized, just going to play, obviously, on the defensive end. He's physical.
Sounds like you're describing Keith Bogans to me. I think Josh Hart's a little better than Keith Bogans.
I think so. A little
He can
bit.
handle the
He's
ball.
a better rebounder.
Yeah.
He's a better transition player.
Yeah, I think it's better.
If you're comparing Josh Hart specifically to Keith Bogans, a player from the early 2010s, I think this is fair from the Knicks. They needed help on the boards. Josh Hart will help there. They were a little thin on the wing. They got a lot of guards. They got a lot of big guys. Wing position, it's kind of grimy. Mm-hmm. It's Barrett. And now it's going to be Josh Hart, so I think he helps there. He doesn't help with the three-point shooting, but he will play hard. And, I mean, they gave up nothing from their rotation, so I think this is pretty fair. Yeah, I also think the Knicks are going to stick in the playoffs this year. Like, they've won enough games at this point that it'll be surprising that they fall into the lottery. So, yeah, this pick will probably go, but it'll be one that they're fine with losing. Middle of the first rounder, kind of like that. You probably would be hoping to draft a Josh Hart caliber player at that draft slot. So I think pretty smart here, assuming that the Knicks are able to come to a deal with Josh Hart, because maybe you'd be a little sad about trading a first rounder for a rental on a guy who's going to be coming off the bench.
Yeah, and that's probably why, a part of the reason why at least the Blazers moved off of Hart here too, right? He does have a player option at the end of the season.
Yeah.
It's almost certain he's going to opt out of that, try and earn more money, and by all reports, the Blazers wanted to focus more on Jeremy Grant than Josh Hart. That's sort of the pecking order there, and in terms of priority. So that's a part of the reason why he's moved here. Maybe more minutes for Sharp, Shaedon Sharp there. Gary Payton II just lets them play a little bit more is another possibility. But yeah, I like this for the Knicks here, and I'm sure you guys saw the clip. Jalen Brunson, his former Villanova teammate, he was pumped.
That was nice.
That may have been the most pumped I've ever seen Jalen Brunson.
Absolutely.
Right? That guy is stoic. I mean, on the floor, from all I've seen off the floor, but yeah, finding out that Hart, his buddy, was coming over to join the Knicks, he was freaking pumped up, which is cool to see.
Was Ryan Arcidiacono on those Villanova teams as well? He was definitely on Villanova, so I imagine he was a teammate. But Jalen Brunson's like, he sucks. Josh Hart, this will be a lot better.
Right.
Yeah, it was just a perfect clip. It almost seemed slightly staged.
Because he was at a Villanova
He was having his jersey retired.
Yeah, right,
Yes.
right. So that's made it even weirder.
He was wearing a Villanova jacket.
Yeah.
He got extremely pumped that his man was coming to join him for sure. Yeah, great moment. Also, Josh Hart was, just a note here for all the fantasy lovers out there, Josh Hart was one of those fantasy wonders at the end of last season with the Blazers. He had a 44-point game when they were extremely thin. So...
when they were tanking very hard.
Did Keith Bogans ever have a 44-point game? I don't.
What's Bogan's career high? Somebody look it up.
Bogans might have had a 44-point season. It's quite possible.
Important note for the nerds out there from Fred Katz on the Boulevard. Because the Knicks own the Mavericks' 23 first rounder, and because that pick is only top 10 protected and thus extremely likely to convey this summer, New York would still almost certainly be able to trade its 24 first rounder in a trade this summer. So what does that mean? If another star becomes available in the offseason, New York will have its full allotment of up to 4 first-rounders to trade, even though it just dealt a lottery-protected pick here in 23. Mm-hmm. Good note there from Cats. If there's a big splashy move to get a Beal or a Levine, or the Knicks want to go that direction, they still have the war chest here to try and get it. I think that is important.
That is important. And,
thanks, Cats.
Thanks, Cats. And I wonder on the other side, the Blazers.
Meow.
The Blazers. Oh
Sorry.
boy.
It's that kind of day.
Yeah, the thanks, Cats. All right, I'm good with. And then we get a quick meow.
Hey, in the Slack channel for ads, did you hit the little like button because you own a cat? Are you interested in a potential cat litter product to promote here? Be honest.
We need to promote it right now.
No.
Of course I checked.
Of course you did. You got a cat. You got a cute little cat, man. I hate
Thanks.
cats, but you got a cute little cat. Little sushi.
You might
eat that cat up.
You might call her Perfect Kitty. I think that's the name of the product. I think. I don't really know. Anyways, the Blazers side of things. They trade Josh Hart. I like it. You can't just sign everybody. The Blazers have to, as we've talked about, change it up to some degree. Does that mean Jusuf Nurkic is going to be dealt as well? Because they're clearly sellers to some degree. I think everybody beyond Jeremy Grant, Damian Lillard, maybe Shaedon Sharpe are untouchable. Or those are touchable, I guess I should say. Probably not the right word. Everybody else is tradable besides Lillard, Grant, and maybe Shaedon Sharpe. Everybody else is tradable. I think that makes a ton of sense.
I just find the Blazers so depressing.
You were high.
I was high. I was looking smart for a little while. The defense was oh, okay, there's something there. That was when they were missing Gary Payton II at the start of the season, and they just fell off a cliff. And I just what I mean is it's so depressing. It's Damian Lillard is averaging 31 points per game. He's having an unreal year, and here they are going to just be praying that they get into a play-in spot, and no one takes them serious, right? As currently constructed, with Nurk and Grant, and even though there are pieces there. Simons obviously has a big game where he hits 1 million threes. And I don't know. It's just ugh.
Wizards West.
Yeah. Oh, that's a depressing way to put it, but yeah.
Don't worry, we're going to talk about Jakob Poeltl on the Raps soon, Skeets.
Oh, that'll get me.
You'll be happy.
That'll get me fired up, won't it?
Nurkic, I think, is a guy who could be moved. Unfortunately, he's signed through the 2026 season, so you're going to need a team who's got a lot of money laying around and also in desperate need of a center. Jeremy Grant, I would think, stays in Portland, but he's an expiring deal as well, so maybe they just decide, let's see what we can get for him, pull the plug there. And I mean, I've been advocating trading Simons since before he even blew up. I still think they should do it just because it doesn't make sense, man. It just doesn't make sense to keep doing the exact same thing, expecting it to change. That's what the Wizards did. They went from from Wall and Beal to Beal and Westbrook to now just Beal. It's the same thing. You're just trying to finish 10th every year.
Yeah, and I think it's a good sign that Joe Cronin is moving Josh Hart, because you could easily just say, oh, we can do it. We got the defensive parts and hope for it. Obviously, the Jusuf Nurkic contract is a bit of an impediment to deal him. Anthony Simons, I think it's not. He has such a high ceiling as a scorer. You just have to find the right team. And we've talked about the Orlando Magic as a team that he could go to. He is signed through 2026.
How about the Raptors?
From $22 million up to $27 million. Yes, a guard who can score.
Yeah.
Totally. You just need to find the right team for Anthony Simons, and the Blazers doesn't seem like it's the right team with Dame beside him. I totally agree with that.
All right, let's get to Teenage Mutant Jakob Poeltl. The Spurs have traded Poeltl back to the Toronto Raptors. Yes, that's where he started his career. What did he play, 2 years for the Raps?
Was it only 2?
And then he was traded in the Kawhi deal. The Raps, in getting Poeltl, send Khem Birch, a fine tree, a protected 2024 first-round pick, and 2 future second-round picks. So, are you pumped that Poeltl's coming back to the Raptors? Are you confused that the Raptors are acquiring a player instead of shipping out one? Obviously, still time left here before the deadline. But what do you think?
They could still ship one out.
Of course.
The price has gone down for Jakob Poeltl. It's not too high a price. He's 27. Solid player. Maybe even a little overblown in this factory over the last few months at what he can do.
Excellent rim protector. Very simple offensive game.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Players are shooting over 60% when they get close to the rim, and Jakob is in between the rim and that player.
I will say, I think Poeltl, it's been better than that years prior, and I think around more talent that will drop. Okay,
You're right.
He is. That is his one really good skill set.
And he can handle it a little bit. He's not stiff with the ball.
No,
he can move the ball. I'm sure Jerome's going to find some good tweets from Raptors faithful, from people who are excited about Jakob Poeltl coming back.
Spicy P is.
Yak and skills.
Those guys are buds.
Yeah.
Best friends. So they're back together.
So as to the first question, are you surprised that they're going for it rather than tearing it down? I don't think so.
I wouldn't say this is going for it, but
okay.
Chambered.
Here's why it's
They're like, of course it's coming up. Come on.
We're looking at Yak and skills here on YouTube.
like the Spurs made this move because they were probably pretty confident.
I don't love calling him skills. I know that's his handle, but
that was back in the day.
Yeah.
How they're pairing. It was Yak and skills.
Yeah.
Yak and sack. I mean, Yakety sacks. Come on, that's good stuff.
It is no surprise the Spurs moved Poeltl here because they weren't going to likely re-sign him. So there is that part of the equation here too.
From the Spurs.
How much is this guy? Is the pay increase? His current salary? This guy is a really, really solid, center. But once you start paying him more, it's like, can you keep up with that? And has he hit his sort of peak as a player too, being 27 years old? I mean, I guess
yes.
in his prime. Is he going to get that much better? Probably not. But the Raptors, they are a middle of the pack defensive team when everybody thought they'd be way better. And that we're talking defensive rating, defensive rebounding percentage, opponent's field goal percentage. They're just like average or below average. So Poeltl helps in all those categories. The weird part of all this is, what are we doing, Raps? Are we just going to go for it in the sense this year, like they're pretty far behind, but go for it and try and just make the playoffs and then regroup next year? Or in the next couple hours here, wow, what a deal the Nuggets are throwing at us, or the Grizzlies, or the Blazers, or whoever for OG, or is it Gary Trent Jr., or is it Fred VanVleet?
Yeah,
that's the part.
I look at those two scenarios totally different. They got a starting center. Yeah. They can still do whatever they want with the rest of their roster. They didn't overpay. A protected first-round pick, essentially, and Kem Birch.
Yeah.
They can still go both directions. Messiah's kept his option open, I think.
Yeah, the Raptors were going to need a center next season. Regardless of how this season ends up, they are back in the play-in tournament. Exciting times for Toronto.
Oh, I didn't even realize.
Yeah, they're actually winning games right now. This is one of their best stretches of the season.
But I'm with Tass. I don't think this means that the Raptors are going for it this season. I mean, maybe if things click right, they could get up to 6th, but it feels like as constructed, a first-round out team is the maximum for the Raptors right now. So if people are interested in OG, sure. Let's get some picks going forward because you traded one for Thad Young, you traded one for Jakob Poeltl. You're going to want to replenish those. Also kind of weird that the Spurs and the Raptors just keep trading with each other.
Yeah.
There are other teams.
Oh.
Call them up. Call them up. 28 more teams out there. Masai, RC, you got their numbers. But I think VanVleet's still gettable as well. Gary Trent Jr. still gettable if you wanted. OG Anunoby still gettable as you wanted. Or if teams make the right offer. Or if you're Toronto, you just say, the price wasn't good enough. We'll roll with what we got. Sign Poeltl next season. And at least we've got a center figured out for next year. Because the same problems would rear their ugly heads next season as well.
I like to pretend that Poeltl sort of tanked his performance last night playing the Raptors too in Toronto. Like we kept saying, the Spurs wanted 2 first-round picks for Poeltl. Nope, we're not trading them unless we get 2. He goes out last night. He played like crap against the Raps. 4 of 11 for him is very, very bad. He was a minus 11 out there. He only scored 12 points. Didn't do a whole lot, but he did it on purpose because he wants to go back to Toronto. So he's like, if I play like garbage in this game, Spurs Raps, then maybe they'll have to take the requirement of 2 picks down to 1 and then some future second-round picks.
Hey,
good move, Poeltl.
Respect to you taking in games last night.
I was trying to watch my Raps, but man, there was too much going on.
While trades are happening, we did an emergency podcast. If you haven't checked it out on the 3-team deal between the Lakers, Wolves, and Jazz that we'll touch on here. But to me, it didn't even feel like basketball was being played last night.
It was a weird one.
I watched the Mavs game.
Yeah,
got some Kyrie. Kyrie looked all right.
I had to watch it.
Yeah,
that was a good one.
What's your take on Kyrie?
That guy's a pretty good scorer. Their team looks a lot better with him on the court and Luka off the court than when it's Luka off the court and nobody else playing.
Yeah.
So a really nice win for the Mavs. They've got 2 wins back-to-back now without Luka. Pretty impressive. And who knows? I still feel like the window is this season for Dallas because who knows what happens in the offseason.
Yeah.
Because if you're the Lakers, you're looking at the return you got last night and you're saying, oh, that ain't Kevin Durant.
Right.
Yeah, I think the Lakers trade looks a lot worse in the light of day now that we've seen Kevin Durant make a move as well.
And the other part of that Mavericks game, too, Josh Green looking amazing, and a lot of people are thinking him getting more opportunity there, and Reggie Bullock had a good game, too, as the Mavs got that win. And the Spurs, just the Spurs side of things, they get one first-round pick for a guy that they probably are not going to re-sign, like I said, in Poeltl. And they do keep acquiring first-round picks here, right? Derek White got one at the deadline last year for them. You said the Thad Young there was another one that they got from the Raps. That was a first-round pick. Got a boatload of them in the DeJounte Murray trade in the offseason. And then one more here. Like, they have a lot of draft capital, the Spurs, and they are going to be well under the salary cap floor there. They're going to have a lot of money to play with if they can get anybody to their team.
And they're chasing the Rockets, as in the bottom of the standings. They've lost 10 straight games. They lose games by an average of 10 points per game, the worst in the NBA in terms of net rating. They're close to those Rockets. Still have one more win, tied with the Detroit Pistons. That's what's important, the Wembanyama sweepstakes for this season. But the right direction for the San Antonio Spurs. I questioned the DeJounte Murray trade, whether it was the right move. They're trading their best player, essentially. But they would have been on that treadmill of mediocrity for a while with DeJounte Murray, and now they're going. They're getting out of that. They're getting out of that realm of just being a play-in tournament type team.
Yeah, and I think a part of the DeJounte Murray trade was also his personality and maybe friction with the front office. That was a big part of them moving him, I think, too.
That's what he said on the podcast. Right. Steven Jackson.
I'm just saying. Not because of he's not talented, is what my point is.
Well, I mean, he's doing his part in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Your godson can get a Murray jersey, maybe.
Yeah, we'll try and convince him. Let's just quickly go over the Lakers-Wolves-Jazz 3-team deal. Now, we did an emergency podcast last night. If you want to hear us talk about this in great detail, fire that one up. It's in your podcast feed. It's there on YouTube. But here it is for everyone. The Lakers getting D'Angelo Russell, Malik Beasley, Jared Vanderbilt. So potentially 2 starters, or at least 3 rotation players. The Jazz get Russell Westbrook. He will very likely be bought out here, and then we can discuss where he's going to go. JTA, Damian Jones, they get that 27th first-round pick. And then the Wolves getting in on this. They get Mike Conley Jr., so they replace D'Angelo Russell with Conley, take a flyer on Nickeil Alexander-Walker, good old Canadian boy, and then a bunch of second-round picks in 24, 25, 26. Well, Trey, let's start with you. I mean, again, we did the podcast last night, but you say this one now, after a big Kevin Durant blockbuster, maybe some of the other moves, you're not as in love with it from the Lakers side of things. But overall, fine. What's your take?
Fine. Yeah, I think overall fine is the answer for me. I think D'Angelo Russell has the best chance to be a J.R. Smith-like pickup for the Lakers, similar to when the Cavs traded for JR and Iman Shumpert. Iman Shumpert was like the big name in that one at the time, but it was JR's willingness to just chuck threes alongside LeBron that was huge for him going to Cleveland. And I think the confidence that Russell plays with will be emboldened by LeBron saying, anytime I pass you the ball, shoot it. And that's what he needs to hear. Beasley will do the same. That's just his game. I just don't necessarily think that Beasley will be able to survive in the playoffs. I don't think Jared Vanderbilt will be able to survive in the playoffs. And then a team that they're going to be chasing, the Lakers, they're chasing the Suns, and they just got Kevin Durant. So it's like you got 3 rotation players from some of the worst teams in the league, and you think that's really going to push you over the edge. I'm a little skeptical. I will say I like it more for the Timberwolves than I did before I went to bed last night, because I think at the very least a lateral move from D'Angelo Russell to Mike Conley. Conley probably not going to be throwing away games like Russell would occasionally. Probably also won't win you games like Russell did occasionally. But it makes it more likely that the Timberwolves are able to keep Naz Reid. And I think he's a super important player for them. So I think being able to sign him in the summer will go a long way for the Timberwolves.
I love the move for the Wolves. I think it makes sense just to reallocate the shots because Russell was handling and shooting a lot. Karl-Anthony Towns is going to come back. He needs his shots. Mike Conley will sit back and be a catch-and-shoot guy. He's shooting 41% on catch-and-shoot opportunities this season with the Jazz. I know a lot of people aren't watching the Utah Jazz unless you're a Utah Jazz fan, but I think he was extremely solid in his role. Obviously, you got to wonder about his health. Sure, I get it. But I think it makes it just a better fit for the Wolves. And he's signed through next year. as you said, the Wolves got to make some decisions with their roster. And D'Angelo Russell was an unrestricted free agent this offseason. Now, the Lakers just depleted their roster in the past few years, trading for Russell Westbrook, essentially. So they did not have the parts to go and get a big name. Rob Pelinka did what he could here. He got 3 guys who are going to be a part of the rotation for a lightly protected first-round pick. And I think that's very solid. I think Jared Vanderbilt is going to be a key part of their team, especially with Anthony Davis. He's going to be able to play more 4, even though Anthony Davis at the 5 is the best version of them. Now that they have shooters, I think you could play Jared Vanderbilt more. He can even hit a corner 3. He's been okay in that regard. I like the makeup of their team way more, but yeah, they're not a championship type contender. And it was fun while it lasted as the number 1 trade at the trade deadline poll here. But
good to get it done before KD. You get a win there.
Yeah, I love the timing. Nice spacing out of these trades. That we could do that podcast last night, go to bed, wake up with the KD one and some of these other ones. The Lakers just got to start winning games now. I don't care who's on their team. If they're going to make the actual play-in tournament here and try and get into the playoffs, they're 2 games back of the Blazers, who we keep talking about are like a joke of a team, and they're the Wizards of the West. It's like they're 2 back of them. And obviously the Jazz and Thunder are in between them. I would expect the Jazz to sort of start to slip a little bit, but the Thunder, obviously, we just saw beating the Lakers. They're frisky. I think they have no reason not to try and get in a play-in tournament and get some reps for their young guys, in some high-stakes games for SGA and Giddey and those guys. So, yeah, they'll have to leapfrog them or hope some of these other teams above them fall out, be it the Pelicans, the Wolves, the Warriors, the Blazers, which I don't think is a given by any means. But what you were saying, like if you had the Lakers, because they have LeBron and AD, as a 5% chance to win the title this year, like or lower maybe, like very, very small, it ticked up a tiny, tiny bit more.
Oh, yeah.
So Pelinka did something. And will he do something with the 29 first-round pick here in the next couple hours? Are they done? Is this their team? Or will they try and get one more piece, a solid player, rotation player, that maybe you trust a little bit more, like TK was saying, than some of these guys with that 29 first-round pick? Or do they hold on to that and be like, we got to have something in the future? We'll see. It's possible.
Mortgage the entire future. I mean, that's what it sure sounds like they're doing. And at the same time, they've held on to 1. But what can you get for that 29 first-round pick?
Prices are going down, man.
Yeah,
Bogdanovich, either one.
Yeah?
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, again, yeah, they got 3 rotation players for 1 when we thought it would be, 1 draft pick per rotation player.
Yeah.
Whether it was Buddy Hield or Miles Turner. So the price has gone down, no doubt.
Is Westbrook still the favorite to win 6th Man of the Year? What happens with that one? He should have never been that, but he was. But did they take it off the board? What do they do with that one?
Who's going to be their 6th man now? Lakers. Beasley?
I mean, Schroeder, Beasley.
Possibly?
Yeah.
Oh, that guy's the favorite then.
It's whoever's on the Lakers?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I do think so.
Yeah, just because of betting, because it's the least bet on award. So it's just market.
More people are betting on Coach of the Year?
Yes. That's a tough call.
You might be right.
But I think Norm, speaking of LA markets, should be the favorite.
Yeah. Brogdon or Norm. I think above Westbrook, especially now. Anyway, those are the trades that we have right this second, unless there's something happening on Twitter.
The Clippers might get Westbrook.
Sure.
According to reports, then they have 2 6th men.
Wow.
They could win the 6th man.
Russ is going to take 6th Man of the Year away from Norm.
They need a 7th Man of the Year award. They both deserve it.
Yeah, there are a lot of teams being linked, obviously, to a potential acquiring of Westbrook after a buyout with the Jazz. The Clippers.
I'm just saying things. I'm saying things because I just don't want this podcast to end. I just never want trade
this
deadline
is the problem,
day to
Tass.
end.
Should we wrap it up now?
I know.
Before the next big trade happens, so then we can regroup.
Aren't we out of big trades? Aren't we out?
Well, no, the Raptors are the big one here. That's a big trade. If the Raptors move OG or Fred, that's a big enough trade.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
If.
So I think we should start wrapping this one up.
All right.
Regroup. Get ready for the next one. Pick 'em results. So last night, yeah, there was basketball being played. I didn't watch a lot of this one. Sixers Celtics. I know Jaylen Brown broke his face, though.
Jeez.
There's another all-star probably out of the mix. We have a lot of injury replacements. Adam Silver's going to be busy. But the Sixers couldn't even beat basically the B team Celtics who had no Horford, no Marcus Smart, no Robert Williams. I'm feeling this vibe, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well
A
done.
little yacht rocky.
Yeah, a little bit.
Funky. Anyway, the Sixers couldn't even cover, so Celtics get the win. That's a win for Tass. You're 4-2. Trey falls to 3-3. I'm 2-4. What's tonight's game?
We got
man?
Sing
it to me.
4-game night.
We got a 4-game night. 4-game night. 4-game night.
Okay.
The Bucks, Lakers, juicy one.
I think LeBron's breaking the record tonight. I think
He will. He will. Technically.
Guaranteed.
Technically, he
breaking it
will.
tonight.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's just 38,900 that he's getting to.
Actually, he may not. Is he even playing tonight? Feels like he should take
Done
the
for
night
the
off.
season.
They gotta
Well,
win.
they gotta win.
They
What am I
gotta
talking
win.
about?
Night
You're right.
off, yeah.
He's gotta play. You're right.
They're
Games under 500.
They're at home. The Bucks are favored by 6 points going into LA. That's not our game.
Oh.
Suns at Hawks. Woo! Not our game. Nuggets Magic, also not our game.
Oh, the bowl.
The Bowl.
No, the bowl. Yeah, that's what I said. I thought you just said it twice. The bowl.
No.
Oh, you said
Run
it
it
3
back.
times.
Run it back.
He
Bowl,
said
bowl,
it 3
bowl.
times.
Man, you said it quick.
Yeah,
Nice.
I know, man. I know.
What about the Cold Bowl? The Cold Bowl.
The Cole Bowl.
Cold Bowl. Cole Anthony. Anyways, the Bulls are playing the Nets. That's our game of the night. That's the
Bowl.
first game on TNT. I thought we were wrapping this up.
I know.
The Nets are favored by a 0.5 points. So it's a coin flip.
We don't see a lot of lines like this.
You
Yeah.
lost on a coin toss.
It
I'm sure.
legit is a pick'em. Yeah,
I'm sure Mikal Bridges isn't playing. I'm sure Cam Johnson isn't playing. I'd assume these guys are not going to be
No.
there.
Well,
with
what
the
happens?
Brooklyn Nets.
Does that mess up Mikal Bridges' Iron Man streak? If he does not play in tonight's Nets game?
I think that ends it.
Oh,
If
really? Yeah, you probably are right, but that'd be unfortunate.
If the trade is cleared, wow.
He's gotta play.
Anyways, Trey's got the Bulls. You got the Bulls.
Sure,
I've
man.
got the Nets.
All right.
I know. This
All
was
right.
high priority going into today's show with all
Yeah.
these trades
Yeah,
happening.
yeah.
But yeah, we'll see who wins in a battle. The Bulls don't get up for teams that aren't at the top, so that's why I took the Nets.
They're ahead of the Bulls.
What's that?
Nets are ahead of the Bulls. That's a dub.
It's a dub for the Bulls?
Dub.
Lock
Big
it
dub.
in?
Big dub.
All right.
They got 5 All-Stars.
Who does?
The Bulls.
Cool.
Levine, DeRozan, Vucevic, Drummond, Dragic.
Damn. It's a lot of All-Stars.
How many on the Nets?
I don't like this music because it's going to keep us on
Ben
pick'em
Simmons.
for way
0.
too long.
Oh, 1. Yeah, they got Ben Simmons. They do got Ben Simmons.
Yeah.
It's too good.
This is his night.
40-point
I think
night.
he's going for double digits tonight.
Simmons?
Yeah. Nah.
Could you bet on
Double
that?
digit minutes. Maybe.
Sure. Yeah, I'll take that.
Maybe.
There was a time when Joel Embiid sat out and Ben Simmons would go for 40. There's that 40-point game.
It happened.
Speaking of 40-point games, Jalen Green had 41 last night.
Yes.
That is an unknown thing.
Isn't that? It's like his 4th or 5th time. With 40.
Yeah, he's
super young
shooting
guy. Anyway, let's get to tweet of the night.
Tweet of the night. Wow.
With Twitter down yesterday, we thought it'd be a sick little trick to give Jerome tweet of the night. But it did come back, and tweets
it
were
sort of
fired.
came back.
Yeah.
They're fine. I couldn't follow anyone. I know that's still down, or it was down when I was trying last night.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
But for tweet of the night, I thought I'd give you guys a little bit of a break from the trade deadline.
Sure.
Maybe
Thanks.
something to look forward to after 3 o'clock today, courtesy of our friend Will Lou of the Raptors show.
There we go.
Hey, basketball fans. Gary Trent Jr. will be shooting buckets at the KFC court at the Bentway this Thursday at 3:30 p.m. This is specific to Toronto fans.
Yeah.
It's a free event, and you might even get a chance to meet the walking bucket himself. See you there. #BucketsAreLife. #sponsored.
This might be the first sponsored tweet we've ever had for tweet of the night. I will tell you that.
100%.
KFC is not paying us a damn dime or chicken for
KFC,
this.
come at us. You could get full promotion on a big trade deadline podcast. Apparently.
No. We're
No, it's
Team
not.
Popeyes down here.
I am Team Popeyes,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I think it's worth looking into because we saw Jalen Brunson react to a trade last night. Are we going to see Gary Trent Jr. react to a trade
At the KFC
bucket?
court, at
Yeah,
the
yeah.
bucket.
Well, I mean, let's take a look at the court really quickly just to know what we're working with. This
We've
is
got
Gary.
shots of the court.
We have shots of the court.
I mean, damn, that looks
cool, man.
It's
very cool.
It's lit up. It's under an underpass.
Yeah.
I think we have a few more coming here. That is not Gary Trent Jr. shooting there in the
I
background.
mean, it is the middle of winter.
It is winter.
So that part's weird.
That part is
That
kinda
was a weird
You
decision
can see in
by
the background
KFC.
there, they offer you like thick padded jerseys to keep yourself warm while you're doing it.
Those are padded jerseys.
Yes.
Interesting.
I've seen people wearing them, and I just thought it was over their giant jackets. Like it was like a
No.
penny, but
Yeah.
oh, okay.
That's awesome.
Buckets
Buckets
are
are
life.
life.
And then just for those who are actually planning on attending, I think we do have a forecast for later.
Oh, that's why we're getting the forecast.
Yeah, so it's 3 degrees Celsius. Sorry to
Celsius.
American fans here, but light rain. But again, it's under an underpass,
Yeah,
so
you're
it's
fine.
covered up. You're fine. This is a Canadian summer as far
It
as I'm
is, yeah.
concerned.
It looks pretty warm right there.
Yeah.
I like a little sauce on my chicken anyway. Put a little water, a little rain on there.
Well, you like a wet
Oh,
wing?
rain sauce.
I want a wet wing.
A wet
A lemon pepper wet.
lemon pepper wet.
Which is rain.
Will Gary Trent Jr. be a Raptor at this KFC?
That said 3:30.
3:30.
That's an interesting time. Deadline's at 3.
I have this question here. What does KFC know?
What does the Colonel know? Interesting.
You think Colonel Sanders follows Shams on Twitter?
Colonel Sanders used to live by nearby Mississauga. That's a fact.
The real Colonel?
Yep.
Wow. What about Dave?
Interesting. Dave Sanders.
No, what about Dave?
Colonel Dave.
Thomas from Wendy's.
Where did he live? Why did he live in Mississauga, man?
Yeah, he wasn't Canadian,
got
was
to
he?
do?
No, he took a little hiatus from being American. He lived on
chicken flew the
He lived
coop.
on Melton Drive, if I'm correct.
Wow.
Jeez.
Control F Melton.
Lived in a bungalow on 1337 Melton Drive.
Was that really close to you?
Very close. I think I rode by Colonel Sanders' house.
Jeez. Did it smell like chicken?
It smelled so good.
Oh, yeah, that is a good smell.
We would just congregate. What does that smell?
Man, Halloween at his house was awesome.
Take
Buckets.
buckets. Bucket of wings, legs.
All right, great tweet of the night, Jerome. We'll find
Thank
out
you.
if Gary is at that KFC court.
Fascinating timing. 3:30 Eastern. Let's have Gary Trent shoot
Yeah.
buckets.
We'll need on-the-ground reporting, because regardless,
Yeah.
I think we're going to get reactions to whatever the Raptors continue to do today.
Is William Lou going to be there?
William Lou, I believe, is going to be there. I can't imagine he's
How much
just
are they
tweeting
paying
out.
William Luda for all this?
6 buckets is probably.
He's getting paid in buckets.
This is Alex's doing. This is not. This is not Will's doing.
Alex Wong, his representation definitely threw him into this. Will definitely wanted to do a reaction pod, and he threw him onto a KFC bucket for it.
Oh yeah, I heard Alex voice a KFC spot commercial. Was
you
it not?
serious?
Yes, don't think I'm imagining that as I'm checking my
Get
phone
that
at 3
chicken
a.m.
money. Go get it.
Go get that chicken money.
Man. We're just hoping we get cat litter money at this point. These guys are living big up there. Why'd we ever leave Canada? We could have had chicken money. You could have been like, I lived by the Colonel. I know him.
I'm in talks of purchasing his home, actually, his old home.
We should turn it into the factory.
Ugh. I like that.
Yeah, it would always smell like chicken. The chicken factory.
Colonel Sanders' house.
Turn
Turn it into a podcast factory.
I'm sorry to JD's entire family if that happens.
Oh, man. All right, great stuff. Let's call it there. Guys, if you live in Salt Lake City, if you are adventuring there for All-Star Weekend, which is next Friday. Yes, Friday, February 17th, we're doing a live show at the Urban Lounge in Salt Lake City to get everybody all ready for All-Star Weekend. Come hang with us. Tickets are available in the show notes, both if you're watching here on YouTube or if you're a podcast listener. Just click that link, get yourself a ticket. Come hang out with us. There are some VIP meet and greet packages still available, though not many, so don't take long if you want to come hang out with us an hour before the show, get preferred seating and all that stuff with the VIP experience. We should get like a bucket of chicken to share with our VIP.
Add it to the listing. 1 piece of Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Did we put that on our rider?
We gotta send it in.
I don't think
This
we
is a
did.
Popeyes pod.
Yeah, you're right. You're
Yes.
right. Team
Podcast.
Popeyes. All right.
Pies, yeah.
Otherwise, guys, we will be back at some point later today. If we get any other big trades, we'll jump on live. So make sure you subscribe to No Dunks on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast, of course. And yeah, hopefully we'll be back later today. If not, if nothing of note happens, which I think would be very shocking at this point, we're here with the Drop Podcast tomorrow morning live at 10 a.m. Eastern. So we'll see you when we see you. Till then, Clipper Bros.
You heard it here first. Have a great time. Turn up. Love you guys. Awesome.
Thanks for joining us. And remember, if Kevin Durant can be dealt, everyone is tradable!
Embrace the day, people.